PLC timer instructions. There are 3 different types of timer instructions and logics. You have a non-retentive and retentive on delay, and you have a non-retentive off delay. So hopefully by the time we get done, you'll be able to use non-retentive and retentive timers on delay, create PLC ladder logic diagrams, use the move instruction to create variable preset values for your timer instructions, use off delay timers to create PLC ladder logic diagrams. Off delay is the one that screws everybody up, and you'll see why. Interlock timer instructions, turn and output on and off sequentially, so 1 second on, 1 second off, 1 second on, 1 second off. Very effective way for flashing a light bulb or a warning indicator, that type of thing.
It's like the same time every morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it must be an instructor going to class. Makes me not want to stand under. Cascade timer instructions in PLC ladder logic diagram to increase the timer preset values. Since we're dealing with a 16-bit controller and we have signed integers, we only get 15 bits for holding integer values, which is what the preset and accumulated values are on a timer. So 15 bits limit you to 32,767. And the largest time base that you can use in one of these timers is 1 second. So somebody do the math real quick. Tell me what 32,767 seconds equates to. Anybody do the math?
What was the question again? 32 something?
32,767 divided by 60.
By 60.
546.11.
546 minutes, divide that by 60.
9.1.
9 hours. Okay. So, if for whatever reason you need a timer that does more than 9 hours at a time, you can cascade them together. So when the first timer gets done, it automatically starts the second one. And then a third one if you need, and you'll just keep cascading them until you use up all 256 timers. That's how many you have available to you. Fixed timers, variable timers, single input, double input. Why this slide says double input, I have no idea, because there isn't a Rockwell controller in existence that uses a double input timer. They don't exist. Okay, so ignore that 4th bullet point. In our world, that's not a thing. And technically speaking, all timers are variable because you can change the preset value if you choose to. In relay logic diagrams, a symbol used to represent timer coils and their associated contacts, normally open on delay. So you can see it's a normally open contact, and the arrow will indicate which direction the contact is going to move when the time expires. Okay. They were normally closed on delay, normally open off delay, so it'll close, and then when the timer times out, it's going to open, and then normally closed off delay, so it's going to open, and then when the timer times out, it's going to close back up. Okay, I'm going to explain that more here in just a little bit, so don't get too excited. 2 types of instruction: on delay, off delay. On delay, start timing when the timer coil is energized. Okay, so as soon as you apply power, or as soon as the conditional logic evaluates as true, the timer starts timing. Okay? Normally open contacts close, and normally closed contacts open when the timer is finished timing. Okay? Those are the ones that are addressed to the done bit, by the way. There are others. We'll talk about them here in a little bit also. Contacts will immediately revert to their normal state when the accumulated value is reset to 0. So as soon as you de-energize the timer, it'll automatically reset. Okay, that's what non-retentive means. They delay before switching contacts when the timer turns on, and no delay whenever the timer turns off. Okay, so as soon as it de-energizes, resets, contacts change back to their normal default state. Off delay is a whole lot different. Starts timing when the coil is de-energized. Okay. Normally open contacts close, normally closed contacts open when the timer is finished timing. That is incorrect. That is absolutely incorrect. Contacts revert to the normal state when the timer accumulated register resets to 0. That much is true. Now let me show you how these actually work, because that slide is dead wrong. I need to edit that. That marker's just about out of range. We're switching to purple. Okay, so the address is going to be T4 colon, whatever. You got from 0 to 255, so there's 256 timers available to you. The base is what the time slices are. Millisecond, tenth of a second, and 1 second. Okay. So for this, I'm just going to label it 1 second. Okay. Preset, that is how long you want the timer to time for, multiplied by your time base. So if I want a 5-second timer, my time base is 100 or 1.0. Preset value is just 5. Okay. What if my time base is millisecond, and I want a 5-second timer? What my preset need to be? 5,000. 5,000 thousandths is 5. If I'm doing 1/10 of a second, what need be? 50/10 is still 5. Okay. Where people get hung up is they set their base wrong, and then they put 1/10 of a second, put 5, and well, it's not less than 5 seconds. Why not? Read your logic. It'll tell you every time. Okay. So, accumulated value is always starts at 0. So when say I'm using E-stop to start the timer. Okay, as soon as this evaluates as true, well, I guess I need to back up just a little bit here. I stole my eraser. I stole all the erasers. Come on, Sean, you're killing me. I'm definitely giving him static about that. Okay, those are the values associated with timers. That's what's known as a structure of instruction. Reset, accumulated are integer values. They use an entire word. Okay. It is a signed integer, so you're limited to 15 bits plus your signed bit. So it can be anywhere from 0 to 32,767. Okay. Enable, timer timing, timer done, are single bit. Okay. So when my input evaluates as true, enables my timer, my enable bit is going to set to a 1. Okay, saying the timer's enabled. The done bit is also going to set to 1. So as soon as you start it, it's done. Okay? It will sit in that state indefinitely as long as your conditional logic evaluates as true. Okay? The moment that your conditional logic evaluates as false, enable, well, actually the enable is going to be clear. Timer timing bit will set. That means that the timer is actively timing. Okay. The done bit stays set until the accumulated value is equal to the preset. When that happens, the done bit will clear and the timer timing bit will clear. Okay. So when that's backwards. Accumulated value is equal to preset, timer done. Okay. So depending upon which contacts you have address or associated with your timer will determine when the contacts are going to turn on and off. Okay? With an on delay timer, let's change this to an on delay here real quick. As long as my conditional logic is false, enable, timer timing, and done are all cleared to 0. Okay. When my conditional logic evaluates as true, it starts timing. Right? Timer is now enabled because the conditional logic is true. It is actively timing. Timing is set. And then when accumulated equals preset, timer timing turns off because it's no longer timing. Okay? And the done bit will set. Okay. You guys follow that? Sort of, ish, a little. Maybe, kind of. You know, I'm just way too full of confidence today. So now we got that cleared up. Relay logic, on and off delay timers. They don't tell you which one's which, you gotta look at the context. So, switch 1 closes, energizes T1. We know it's an on delay timer because of the direction the railroads are in. So, after 5 seconds, well, switch 1 closes after 5 seconds. This switch will close, turning on the motor. The switch will open, turning off the green light. Okay. That's over here at off delay. When you open switch 2, well, when switch 2 is closed, that will close, turning on the green light. This will open, turning off the motor. After you open this switch, 6 seconds later, this will open up, turning off the green light. This will close, turning on the motor. Not sure why you want to do it like that, but okay, single input timers have only one input for enable and run, and dual or double input have 2 inputs, one for enable and a different one for run. I said Rockwell timers are only single input. There is no separate input for enable and run. That's the block format for a dual input that we're not using. Preset register is a preset value that the timer is initialized to hold. Preset register holds that preset number. That is the value that you want the timer to time to. So 5 seconds, 20 seconds, 3 seconds, you know, whatever that number is. Okay. The accumulated value or register is the time that has passed since the timer started timing. Status register will hold the flags for enable, timer time, timer done. There are some others in there for error checking and that kind of stuff, but we never concern ourselves with those because they are extremely, very rarely used. Okay. Timers on Allen Bradley Series PLC is in data table 4, T4. addresses from 0 to 255, which means you can have 256 of them. In practice, the number of timers is limited by the PLC's memory capacity. Nowadays, there's enough memory that you could, in theory, use all 256 of them if you chose to. Not sure why you would want to, but you can. Timer base multiplied by the preset. There again, that's just 100th of a second. That's also wrong, it's 0.001. So 1,000th, 10th, and 1 second are the time bases. Status flags, enable, timer timing, and done. Remember your address characteristics, the syntax. This is going to be really annoying really fast. File number, timer number, okay. And then to get to the preset value, accumulated value, and that sort of thing, that is word level addressing, so it's a period. Okay. Anybody want to guess what that one is? That would be preset. What if it said accumulated value? Okay, those are word level 16-bit values. Okay. You also have the slash is your bit delimiter. Okay. Well, you need to specify which bit you're referring to, so it's either DN for done, EN for enable, or TT for timer timing. Okay. That one and that one are the two that you're going to use most often in your programs. There are times when you want to know if the timer is enabled or not, but those times are much less frequent. There are different types: non-retentive on delay, retentive on delay, and non-retentive off delay. There's no such thing as a retentive off delay. Okay. Fixed preset value. T40, time base 0.01, preset 500. I guess that is 100th of a second. Compacting controller or millisecond values. That 100th of a second is correct. Sorry if I confused you. No, sorry. So anyway, as soon as the conditional logic evaluates is true, timer is going to start timing. When accumulated equals preset, done bit sets. Okay. That's a weird place to put the move instruction. Move is used for copying the content of one register into another. Isn't that like the dumbest thing you've ever heard? Or, at least right up there. If I move this from here to there, it's not here no more. It's over there. In the PLC, if you move a value from one register to another, it copies it. So all I have to do is go, oh look, now I've got 2 bottles of soda. Yeah, that is one of those goofy things that if you don't know, it will confuse the heck out of you. These are all addressable values. So if you want to change the preset value of your timer, just use a move instruction and move whatever value you want the new value into the preset and it'll automatically update. Okay. So, let's see if I can zoom that in a little bit. Is that better? Kind of blurry, isn't it? Okay, so press the green push button. Going to move 1000, which that is just a straight 1000. There's nothing special about it, into the preset value of timer T40. Okay. If instead you press the red push button, you're going to move 1500 into the preset value of timer T40. Apparently somebody pressed the green button because the preset shows 1000. Okay. And then apparently close switch 1, timer starts timing. That's going to turn on light 1, whichever one that is, while it's actively timing. Timing just means enabled and not done. Okay. You can literally do the same thing with an EN, an XIC EN bit, and an XIO done bit. It serves the exact same purpose.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then when the timer gets done, light 1 turns off, light 2 turns on. It helps them not standing in front of the screen. Okay. Reset instruction. Used to reset a retentive timer. The way a retentive timer works is while the conditional logic that is in front of the timer is evaluating as true, the timer will keep timing. If before the timer gets done, the conditional logic evaluates as false, the timer stops timing, but it remembers how much time has passed while the conditional logic was evaluating as true. Okay, so instead of automatically resetting back to 0, it remembers where it was at. So if I have a 5-second timer and I'm 2.5 seconds into it, my conditional logic goes false, it'll stay there for 2.5 seconds. When I re-enable the timer by my conditional logic evaluating as true again, it starts timing at 2.5 seconds and then goes until it gets done. Unless I open whatever switch or whatever. Okay. You can turn it on and off as many times as you can before accumulated equals preset in the time that it says. Every time you open, or every time the conditional logic goes false, it'll stop timing and hold wherever it was at that point, basically indefinitely. Okay. The only way to clear that, well, there's 2 ways. You can move a 0 into the accumulated value. technically the way you're supposed to do it is to reset that timer. So the reset instruction, it's in the timer counter element group. Like that, RES for reset. That is not an OTE instruction that is labeled RES. I can tell you how many times I've seen that over the years. That is an actual reset instruction. It is not an OTE instruction that's labeled reset or RES. Okay. So we want to reset timer 0, reset T4 0. We want to reset timer 1, reset timer 1. Okay. Okay, off delay. Interesting. That says that when switch 1 is closed, red pilot and motor 1 are both off. When the conditional logic in front of the timer evaluates is true, the done bit's going to set. That's XIO. It's actually going to open, or it's not going to open, but that's going to evaluate as false, which will turn the motor off. So we're looking for a 0, we're going to find a 1. Okay. Switch 1 closes. Well, no, switch 1 opens. Yeah, no. Switch 1 closes, we'll find a 1 here, which will start the timer timing. Turning on the red pilot, and when it gets done, the done bit will clear and turn motor 1 back on. So confusing off delay timers get.
Or expanded close last.
Which one?
Switch one.
Because you want it to start timing when switch 1 closes, giving you an input. Yeah, kind of weird setup there, but the way it should work.
It's like 7-second delay kill switch.
Yeah, basically. But you're relying on power to be applied to the input terminal to start the timer. Interlocking timers on and off sequentially. Common method of flashing lights, ringing bells, that sort of thing. So is that big enough for you guys to see? So you close switch number 1. That's going to evaluate as true, while timer 4, 1 is not timing, XIO. Timer 0 is going to be timing, so while it is timing, the green light is on. When T40 gets done, it's no longer going to be timing, which this will then evaluate as true. Starting timer 1, while timer 1 is timing, this will evaluate as false, resetting this timer, and this will now evaluate as false, turning the green light off. That's a really jacked up way of doing it, by the way. There's a much easier way, much easier to follow also. Okay.
So how can you tell from the print if they're retentive or non-retentive?
Because,
The acronym?
you mean mine, but yeah, I like my answer better. Because a retentive timer, I was hoping that was it. Cascade timers, when the first one gets done, it starts the second one, and when it gets done, it starts the next one, and so on. Yeah, see, when that one gets done, it starts this one. When this one gets done, starts this one. Oh. See this? The T41 timer timing, that is a nested branch. That is a big fat no-no. Don't ever do that. What they should have done is right click on this corner, bring up the right click context menu. You have extend branch up and extend branch down. You could have done either one. Puts this contact on the same level. Okay. This also works, but it takes more time for your program to scan that logic. Okay. Because of the way it's the way it branches. It adds more clock cycles to the scan.
It's a nested branch.
Don't ever do that. Even though I've said that, none of you are going to pay attention, and you're all going to do it at least once.
Oh, yeah.
Logic Pro examples, we're not going to worry about those. No, we are going to worry about that, because there is your retentive timer. Normal on delay is TON. Normal off delay is TOF. And then the retentive is RTO, retentive timer on. Okay. You can use the reset instruction to reset any timer, whether it is retentive or non-retentive. But they are actually supposed to be used with retentive timers. Reset them, okay? Yeah, there's your off delay. TOF. So do you feel like all educated and stuff now?
Ready for graduation.
Activity number 1. In this activity, you will create PLC ladder logic diagram that carries out the following sequence of events. When switch 2 is closed, the first red pilot turns on, motor 1 starts running, and the bell sounds. After 10 seconds, motor 1 stops, the second red pilot turns on. 15 seconds after the processes in step 2 have been carried out, first red pilot and second red pilot turn off, and the green pilot turns on. And then 5 seconds after the processes in step 3 have been carried out, both motor 1 and motor 2 start running. If switch 1 is open, the process is halted. Okay? So that tells me that switch 1 is the master switch, basically, right? Okay, so first thing we need to do is define our input devices. We know that there's no handy dandy chart like you guys have been using. So what do we have for input?
Switch 2.
Switch 1, switch 2.
Switch 1, switch 2. Okay, so switch 1, let's use the selector switch 1 in the left position, counterclockwise. And switch 2, choose the limit switch. Okay. And that's it for inputs, right? Okay, what about outputs?
Motor 1. Red pilot light.
Green pilot light, motor 2, and bell.
Motor 1, motor 2, red pilot 1 and 2, green pilot light and bell, right? That's pretty much it. Okay, for motor 1, I typically use the motor starter, the standalone motor starter, which is output 8. Motor 2, I usually use the forward coil on the reversing starter, which is output 9. Red pilot light 1, output 0. Red pilot light 2 is output 1. Green pilot light is output 2. And for the bell, usually use one of the 2 control relays, so we'll call it 6 this time. Okay. Probably activity 1 on this one is the hard one. Activity 2 is a piece of cake. Okay, so according to our narrative, want something besides this blue here. Turn the low one. Okay, so since switch one is the master, I'm going to put that as the first thing on every rung to make sure that if that switch opens up, everything drops out. Okay. So switch one we said was input 01, right? And then when switch two closes, things start happening. I'm only going to put timer base and preset. The accumulated value is always 0 when you start. Okay. Ten seconds. Okay, so when switch two closes, first red pilot, motor one and bell. First red pilot, output 0, 0. Motor one, output 0, 8. And bell, output 0, 6. Okay. We all agree that that'll work? Fine. This is my logic flawed. After 10 seconds, motor one is going to stop. Okay, motor one is output 0, 8. So how am I going to stop motor one after 10 seconds?
One of those switches? No.
Well, that narrows it down. Remember how the timers work?
You reset the timer.
Good guess, incorrect. I only want to turn off motor 2.
Do you use a move instruction?
Good guess, incorrect. Which 3 bits do I have at my disposal?
Oh, ZN, one.
Okay. Which type of instruction do I want to use?
T4 0/B.
So that's the address, what about the instruction? What's going to happen to the done bit when my timer, like my 10 seconds have expired? What do you say?
XIC, examine closed close. No,
No, good guess, incorrect.
It'll read 0.
Hmm?
It'll read 0. Benefit.
When?
When, the timer is finished timing.
On an on delay? EN, DN, and TT are my options.
And then
What'd you say?
it's done.
Okay, done is definitely the one I want to use in this situation. So what is done going to do? It's going to turn on or turn off when my timer has expired. Incorrect.
Internal.
That's the only other option. Gotta be right, right? Yeah, when accumulated equals preset, done bit will set. Okay? So I'm obviously going to use P4:0/DN, but what instruction do I want to use to turn off my motor when the timer gets done?
Instruction.
No. Okay, let's go old school here. What is this instruction?
saying they're closed.
XIC. That's not an X, that's an asterisk. Almost did it again. What does XIC mean?
Examine is closed.
That's what it is, what does it mean?
There's one, that's true.
So,
So you want,
no such thing normally open, normally closed in PLC world.
so you want it to be examined closed. Yeah.
What does XIC mean? What is its definition? Go look for a woman. What is this instruction?
Examine both.
Do I do this without making another asterisk there?
You may see.
You weren't supposed to notice that. What does XIO mean?
Zero.
I'll look for a zero. Okay, so when switch 1 and switch 2 are closed, what do I need here? Addressed to my done bit to allow motor 1 to run until the timer expires.
Amen, close.
Good guess, incorrect.
Examine open.
There you go. Okay. XIO, go look for a zero. Until accumulated equals preset, this done bit is going to be a zero. So go look for a zero, find a zero, true, motor runs. Okay?
Okay.
Accumulated equals preset, the done bit's going to set. Go look for a zero, find a one. This now evaluates as false. Motor turns off. Okay? So after 10 seconds, accumulated equals preset, motor 1 stops. Okay, so done bit sets. XIO evaluates as false, motor turns off. Okay? And the second red pilot turns on. So, make sure that I put switch 1 in here because it's master. Okay, red pilot 2, that is up at 01. Okay? So after 10 seconds, timer 4 done, right? Do I want XIO or XIC? XIC. When the 10 seconds is up, accumulated equals preset, done bit set. Turn on, become a 1. I want to go look for a 1 in order to turn on my second red pilot light. So this says do not turn that on until after 10 seconds have elapsed. Okay, you still with me? Kinda? 15 seconds after the processes in step 2 have been carried out, red pilot, red 2 turns off, green 1 turns on. Okay? So should. The only thing we need to get step 2 to work is for this timer to be done. So as soon as this timer gets done, we can start the second timer, which is what we're going to do right there. Okay, our T40 done is going to evaluate it's true, start the next timer. Okay. I can sit down here so my writing is legible. Okay, the next available timer is plenty good enough. T41, let's leave our time base as 1 second on all these because we're dealing with whole seconds. You only need to use the other ones if you're doing fractions of a second. Okay. And it says 15 seconds, right?
Yes.
So preset's 15. Okay. We remember this now?
What is that?
So we remember this now? Not a chance?
Wait, what was it?
Wait, what?
I need to write it down.
Okay. So 15 seconds after step 2, red 1 pilot, red 2 pilot, turn off. Okay, so red pilot 1 is output 00. Well, there's an output 00. So I need something in there off of timer 1. Turn it off. So what address do I want to use?
This one, the green pilot?
"15 seconds after process and step 2 have been carried out, red 1 pilot, red 2 pilot, turn off." Okay? What's my address? There you go. Dylan's finally starting to catch on here. So until T41 gets done, that's going to evaluate as true, allowing the red pilot light to work anytime it wants to. Okay? Red 2 pilot is output 01, which is this guy right here. So how about I do the exact same thing for it? And we also need the green pilot to turn on. So Let's output 02. So, we want XIO or XIC? I get 2 votes per seat. Chance of just being really stealthy about it. Okay? What's my address? There's one janky looking in right there. Okay? So 15 seconds after process step 2 has been carried out, red 1, red 2, off, green 1 on. So red 1, red 2 off, green 1 on. Finally, 5 seconds after the process and step 3 has been carried out, both motor 1 and motor 2 turn on. Okay, so this is when step 2 gets, or step 3 gets done. Right? So next available timer, plenty good enough. Dealing with whole seconds, I'm going to use my 1.0 time base. And 5 seconds, so my preset needs to be 5, right? And that's a 5 with a Donald Trump hairdo. I fixed it. A motor 1 and motor 2 start running. So motor 1's output 08, which is up there. 2 is output 09, which is not. So I'll call me a run 3 in here. So when step 3 gets done, so when the done bit sets on timer 2, motor 2 is going to turn on. You agree with that? XIC, go look for 1 done bit. Okay. Says both motor 1 and motor 2 will start running, so I need to turn motor 1 back on. All right? Okay, so only a branch instruction in there. Same instruction, T42 done, XIC. But when T42 gets done, it's going to set the bit. So power goes this way because this guy's open after this timer times out, turning motor 1 back on. And switch 1 is open, process is halted. So sorry about that. Make the boo-boo. Told you I was going to do it and I didn't. timer was that? Number one?
Yes.
And then input 01. And that is 242. Jacking that all of them. That's more better.
All bad.
What was that? And then, of course, you have to have that in there because you can put it in there by default.